walk in progress. Continue to look at the things that you're doing and say, hey, I'm not going to give up. I will still progress. I will still continue. I will still be motivated. I will not give up on the dreams that I have. Yes, life is hard. Things happen to us and we go through difficulties, but continue to progress.
Welcome to Pushing Your Peers Podcast, the number one podcast in the region for living a progressive and happier life. What if one creative idea could transform the way children learn and see themselves in the world? On this episode, we're joined by Dyna Marshall, entrepreneur, author, and creative visionary as she shares her journey of developing innovative educational tools, children books, and animations that inspire learning and support children of all abilities. We explore the importance of inclusion, entrepreneurship, and creating meaningful impact in our communities. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share so you never miss an episode. Sit back, relax, and let's get ready to push some peers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dyna to Pushing Your Peers Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Now let's dive straight into it. Tell us about your journey as a serial entrepreneur. Where did it all come from? How did it all start?
Well, it all started with one of my friends. Her name is Christasha, and she introduced me. She was like, you know what, let's get into like creating stuff and figuring out, okay, what we want to do besides just us being there. So I give her a big shout out for that. She introduced me into the world of entrepreneurship, and then I ran with some ideas of my own. I was like, okay, I have this idea that I would like to do. Before then, I also was like doing a little bit of counseling to the side. So I used to start way back then, and then I pivot out of that. I was like, okay, what else can I use my giftings for, my talent for? So that's how it became like something I wanted to do, something that I pursued. I was like, oh, we might as well go hard for this. Why not? This is the dream that I have. We might as well go harder as we can.
Now you are somebody that wears many hats.
Yes.
Where did it all begin for you? Which hat did it start with, and how did it grow to the other hats you're currently wearing?
Well, it started in church. It took a little while for me to get to this place. If you ask any of my leaders, they'll tell you that I had this whole dance thing that I wanted to do with the kids because I was a dancer myself back in the day when I was like 14, 15. So I just love just expressing myself that way. And I wanted to bring it to the church that I was currently in, which is Harvest Bible Chapel. And I just was like, okay, enough with the fear. Let's do this. So that's how I started the inspiration, being around the kids and seeing what they like and how they are so developing in their giftings as well as I pushed them forward. And I was like, okay, what else can I do that they can see themselves being represented in, in the community? And that's how all these things started just rolling, going on. So that's how it began.
So you went from the church. I see
Yeah.
you writing children books.
Yes.
And I saw you doing illustration. So let's talk about the children book now.
Yes.
Where did that idea or concept come from?
So I am very big on reading. I struggled when I was younger. And now as an adult, I got tested and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so very dyslexic. I just mix up words a lot in my mind. So when I'm writing, I have to let people actually read my book because they know that I would swap some words and it would not, be what it is. But I'm so grateful for my friends who like, okay, I understand this is how your brain process things. And I was like, you know what? So what if I'm dyslexic? So what if I mix up numbers sometimes? So what if I mix up words? Let's do something for the kids that are here that has the same, it was not necessarily a disability, it's a reading disability, but it's like, okay, what can we create that is very fun, engaging, bright, that we can inspire the kids to be like, okay, just because I have this going on and my brain is doing the weird thing that it's doing, I can still be a reader and I can still get into reading. So that was one of the main things. I was like, okay, let's see how we can put it together. Let's see how we can introduce our kids in the community into getting into reading. Yeah.
So what it sounds like to me is that your products are catered towards really keeping children engaged with the content.
Yes.
Because attention spans in this generation is like a snap of a finger, like it's gone.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. And
Thank you.
now you go from writing and then you transition into animation. Tell us about what sparked that transition.
I was just with the kids from church. I'm usually with them all the time. And I was like, hey, why not let them voice a character, see what that would look like? And then the idea came, I was like, oh, I have a book, Brave and Beautiful. I have the kids that I work with. I wonder if I could bring this to life. And I wonder if they can see themselves actually on screen, reading it, putting voices towards it, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's see what I could come up with in that concept. So I wrote a script, and I was like, okay, let's do it short. Let's do just a 1 minute to 2 minutes. Let's keep it short, just to see how it does in the community, how the kids are engaged, and they loved it. They love seeing themselves on screen. They love seeing how they voice it. When they get them together, they're like, we're having a blast. We're laughing. So a lot of the times you would see like the laughter is very genuine. It's because they're making me talk. They're chatting, and while they're doing their thing, you know how kids are in their extension. Their attention span is be like just gone. So whenever they're just hype up, I just go and I press play and I just press record. I'm like, okay, let me get the snippets that that are real instead of just the ones that are scripted. And that's how the animation was birthed, from just the inspiration of those kids.
Now, have you had any success stories or even persons share their experience either with the books or animations?
Oh, of course, I for sure, especially with Matthew's story, um, him being autistic, I get a very good response back from people who have kids that deal with autism, and it was so sweet because when I went to Grand Turk, I had the privilege of reading that book to the special needs class in Oneglinton, which I used to go to, and it was just a sweet moment of just seeing them love on me and hug me, and to the point where he brought his grandmother to the place where I was selling the books and brought her there to buy that specific book. And I know there was like, how do you understand him? I was like, I don't know, but I just do, you know? And the teachers was like, they never pay attention like that. And I was like, I can't explain it. I was on the floor with them, and it was just such a wholesome moment of just seeing their heart. And I'm just like, oh, this is what it's all about. Letting them see themselves in the story, and just expressing themselves and being able to just as much as they can tell you how much they love the stories. I had a kid who see me on the road and she was like, oh, you came to read at my school. And, the parent was there and she's like, and I was like, yeah, I did. And then she came and she hugged me. So it's all those moments where the kids can really just look at themselves in the book because they do identify. And all of my characters, I base it off of, us being Black here in Turks and Caicos. That's we're predominantly Black. So I really wanted to showcase, hey, we matter. We can go ahead and we can do this. We can achieve these things. We can show representation of the culture and the history and all that is part of the story. And I'm just so grateful to just be just a little piece in changing, Turks and Caicos for the better.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to drop an applause for the wonderful work you've done. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Now, Dina, we started off talking about learning disability. Now you've created products or books specifically that actually caters to those sort of things, right? Is it really a learning disability then, or is it that the the materials are not personalized to certain individuals' needs? Do you believe in the term learning disability based off your experiences now?
Yes, and I would say a little bit, it could be two things at once. It can be the fact that yes, a kid very much has dyslexia. There's other ones, dysgraphia. There's dyscalculia, which is like the mixing of numbers. There's the motor one where you can't really write, you can't really use your hand, you're not really good at penmanship. So there is disabilities in that way. But also, I was thinking back in the day, like if I had programs tailored to my dyslexia, I probably would have been much more comfortable. And I give it to my mom because when I went to the States for that period of time that I lived there, they really helped me understand like what was going on, even though I didn't really have a word for it like I do now. But they used to make incentives for me to read. Like if I read 2, 3 books, I'll get a prize. Or, like they would make sure that it's something that we would be in tough competition back then. Like, we got to get it together, we got to read. So I give it to them for just bringing that and helping me with that. So yeah, it can be a bit of both if we do programs that can tailor to children with those type of disabilities. And I went and I got a certification in it because I really wanted to understand like what exactly it is. Like, and that's how I learned that it's different forms of dyslexia, different forms of disabilities. I even want to get a certification. I'm doing it right now in reading because I want to know how to teach kids how to read, because sometimes the sounds are very different in the way that, we tend to do reading as a memorization,
Right.
instead of really breaking it down that, hey, this is the sound that this letter make. This is the sound that these letters make together. So I'm learning right now how to put it together because I do want to create more books where it really breaks down about the reading and stuff like that. And I also want to create books that include sign language for like toddlers who are just like 1 to 2 years old. They don't really know how to pronounce things, but they can sign to you more, or they can sign to you mother, or or father, or something like that. So that's something that I'm actively working on. And I'm grateful for one of my students just like, why don't you create something in Braille? And I was like, you know what?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking into that to see how I can, I don't want nobody to be left behind,
I love that.
in this journey. So I'm trying to figure out the different facets of how I can include everyone and, just let them see themselves in it. Why not?
I
So,
love that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to purchase products for a child who has a learning disability, special needs, or just a book in general,
yeah,
reach out to Dina Marshall. Like, she's putting together an amazing catalog of books ready to meet children at all levels. Dina, I love it. I love it.
thank you.
Your journey starts off with these challenges, and instead of having a victim mindset, you took it on yourself, and now you're solving problems through
Yes.
entrepreneurship. And that's the core of entrepreneurship, solving social problems, and I commend you for that. Now, you spent a lot of time in schools around children. What is something you would like to see change in the education system right here in the Turks and Caicos Islands?
I think one of the main things, especially with the new book that I create, Island Adventures with Mr. Andy Mizik, I felt like we were losing a part of our history. Like, kids could not tell me, what color are some of the islands. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Or where are the caves, or, the boiling hole and stuff like that. I was like, okay, let's turn this into an adventure, but you're learning. So that's something that I was I was putting it together, like, how can I had that concept for like a year now. And I just sat on it and I was like, and then I was talking to Andy and he was like, why don't we do it this way? And I was like, that's a great idea. And it's good when you bring people into your vision and they understand your vision and they can be like, okay, we can, let's collaborate and see how we can execute such vision. So that's one of the things I really wanted to do, is to have a piece of the history still remain the history of Turks and Caicos in the classrooms, in the schools, so kids can be like, okay, hi, I learned something new today, but it was interactive. You get to color, you get to see the islands. And when you look at the book, it's the literal pictures of the caves that I took. And when I took pictures of them, I made sure I was like, hey, we need to make sure that this is exactly what it is. We're not taking away, we're not adding anything extra. This is what it is, So if you see the caves in the book, or if you see the boiling hole and how it looks and the fishery and all that stuff, it looks like this. It looks like South, it looks like North, it looks like Grand Turk. And I wanted to have that piece of history in the book.
Amazing work, Dana. Amazing work.
Yeah.
And you are a serial entrepreneur. Let's talk.
Yes.
Let's talk a bit about that, just briefly. What are some things that you would love to see the government or even the private sector do to support you better as an entrepreneur?
Um, right now, I have an idea that I'm sitting on, and I would love the help from the government. I want to create a live production, Broadway production of my books. I want to bring it to life. It's never been done in Turks. It's an idea that came to my mind. I was like, you know what? I would love to, get funds to be able to put on such a show with all of our local kids with music playing because they're very talented. Some kids, they can play violin, they can dance, they can sing. So that's something in the background that I'm working right now with. I'm putting together the script on how I want to see it come to life, and how I really want it to be like those Broadway productions where you're changing clothes, there's a set, there's a feel, there's a vibe to it, and the kids are out there, they're acting their hearts out there. They're telling you the things and the emotions that they face through the schoolwork, through challenges that they go through, but it's relatable to other people in the crowd. So that's something that I'm working with. And I'm going to do it a live Broadway production of Brave and Beautiful. That's in the
Love it.
works.
Love it. Love it. Listen, I gotta do it again. Gotta do it again. Listen, not only government, but the private sector people who are listening in. When this idea hits social media through a poster and there's
Mhm.
a save the date,
Yes.
Dina Marshall, reach out to her. We often talk about being the change. This is something that you can actually be a part of as your corporate social responsibility. That this is an investment not only in special needs and children education. This is an investment in performing arts,
Yes.
right? And we talk about growing our economy and diversifying our economy. This is the way to go about it. And we have
Yes.
somebody who's doing the work as a creative, leading us in a new direction, and she needs your support, both government and private. The hotel industry,
Yes.
the food industry, whoever you are in the private sector and government. This is an idea you should jump on. And Dean, I just want to thank you so much for being
Thank you.
a leader in your own respective right. Somebody who has gone through challenges and didn't take the victim's mindset around those challenges. I would say you went out, you took it on, and you're doing phenomenal work. And of course, you have the support of all of my listeners right here on Pushing Your Peace podcast. Now, this is my favorite part of the show. This is where you push your peace. Yes, any word or words that begins with the letter P that has been transformational to your journey, you now have a chance to push your peace.
A P word I would say is progress. Because sometimes we really don't think we're doing enough, but any step towards it counts. So I'd say continue to walk in progress. Continue to look at the things that you're doing and say, hey, I'm not going to give up. I will still progress. I will still continue. I will still be motivated. I will not give up on the dreams that I have. Yes, life is hard. Things happen to us and we go through difficulties, but continue to progress, continue to push, continue to strive for exactly what you want. Because this idea, I sat on it for years. People could tell you that they know I wanted to write books. And when they saw it, it was like, you talked about this for years. And I was like, yeah, but it was one step at a time. And I was like, you know what?
Absolutely.
Why am I being afraid to create something that I know that I desire to do? So I'd say continue to progress. As slow as it is, put the first step out there and just continue going on.
That's so powerful. And even when I wrote happy, when you look at some of the most happy people in the world, they're
Mhm.
the ones. It's not really material things. It's
Mhm.
people who are constantly growing,
Yeah.
constantly progressing. So I love how your P is progress. It's
Yeah.
not a P in my book,
Mhm.
but it's a P that has shown to be linked to happiness, progress. So
Yes.
amazing work. And of course, you are well supported by us right on the show. Now, I'm not done yet. You wouldn't be
Okay.
a guest on my show if you didn't get a spinoff question.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
I think I am.
All right, let's do it. Is
Okay.
it acceptable to eat pizza with a knife and a fork? Is it acceptable?
It is not acceptable. Okay. Pizza needs you need to hold that down. You need to hold that slice, the greasiness on your fingers. You need to Pizza's one of my favorite foods. So I feel like it's a little disrespectful if you're gonna cut it. Let's not. No, you gotta pick that up, get down and dirty, smear it all over your face. That's how you enjoy a good slice of pizza.
You gotta
Yeah.
get intimate with that pizza,
Yes, that
okay?
pizza.
Right? It is a finger food, but you do have some people they do the fork being a little too posh, I would call them.
Yeah, it's like them putting pineapple on pizza. Can we not?
Now, 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 I'm a pineapple and barbecue chicken guy. You
Oh,
don't knock it until you try it.
oh God.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had Dina Marshall on Pushing Your Peace podcast sharing her journey. It's been a phenomenal episode. Hearing her share her story of triumph and now being a creator who is solving social problems. Now, persons may want to reach out to you, Miss Marshall. How can they contact you?
They can reach me on Instagram, Words for Wonder by Dina, or my other one, Soar by Dina, or they can reach me on my phone number 242-3489.
Do you
Got
have any closing remarks for our audience? Anything you want to say that I didn't ask you?
I would say in life, sometimes we meet with both triumph and disaster. And this is quoting a poem, and it says to treat those both imposters just the same. Just because it's high and it's going good for you, and sometimes in the same high and good, you're still plummeting, you're still facing challenges. But treat those two things as though they're nothing. But base it on your morals, base it on your core values of what you want to be in life. There, you will always have high and low moments. You will always have difficulty, but do not give up on the vision and the dream that you have for yourself. Continue to push yourself, continue to strive. And I believe in that because sometimes life is just slapping us down and we don't know what to do, how to face it. But you got to be able to say, hey, you know what? I've had high moments. I've had great moments, but I also had moments where could be a doctor's report, could be something that you was not expecting. It took a turn, but treat those two imposters just the same.
There's nothing else to say after that. That's it. It's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Dina Marshall, extraordinary serial entrepreneur who's doing phenomenal work in education and also other creative fields. But this episode, we focus primarily on her as an illustrator and also as a writer. Someone who has gone through challenges, who didn't succumb to them, and who's now helping other young people to overcome their learning disabilities and shortcomings. We commend you for the work you're doing, Miss Marshall. We wish you the best. And of course, thank you so much for being a guest on this show.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week on Pushing Your Peers podcast.